Hi everyone, Al the Psych here. I have a video for you today entitled The Power of Parting, Finding Peace and Freedom Through Family Estrangement. This is a review of a book by Eamon Dolan, 2025. Again, this is for informational purposes only. Probably going to do this in 3 parts, I think, and some information will not be just from the author, but I'll kind of throw my 2 cents in occasionally. All right, so here we go. Again, I'm going to present some highlights presented by the author, and he's basically reporting how he and others have dealt with abuse. And in the author's case, he reports about how he dealt with abuse from his mother. And there's obviously a lot more in the book than I'll report, but I think this is a good start. And I don't necessarily agree with some of what he presents, as necessarily being therapeutic, but on the other hand, therapy can be very personal, and what works for one person might not work for another. Okay, so just keeping that in mind. Now, one interesting gem. We should all hold our family to the same standards that we hold our friends. In this regard, the author is saying sometimes we give our family members a pass just because that person's a family member. And the author is basically saying, no, hold our family members to the same standards. Okay. Now, the author takes aim at the old adage, spare the rod, spoil the child, referencing evangelical Christians and James Dobson, who is the author of Dare to Discipline, as advocates of corporal punishment. Now, as a psychologist, I know that physical punishment is basically only going to teach the child to use physical punishment for the most part. And there are a lot more effective and non-traumatizing ways to discipline children. Now, if you want a child to learn to self-regulate, there are 3 big factors, warm, responsive relationships with caregivers, a structured, predictable environment, and caregivers who model and encourage healthy emotional expression. So if a child's ability to self-regulate depends a lot upon a caregiver's ability to self-regulate, hopefully the caregiver is able to self-regulate. Remember, hitting a child just reinforces hitting. Okay, so in my mind, the biggest point to take away from the book is that estrangement does not necessarily mean total cutoff. Okay, the author speaks of different degrees of estrangement he used as an adult in dealing with his mother, and the author speaks of estrangement as being on a continuum. So, for example, I won't take her calls this weekend. Okay, that's one example. Or I'll skip the family thing this Christmas. Or further down the continuum, he or she is dead to me. Okay, so quite a variance. Okay, so these are big points in my mind about what he's talking about in terms of estrangement. Also, you may part from your abuser by declaring some level of estrangement, actually voicing it, or you may do or choose to do what he calls quiet estrangement. And I guess this maybe you could call this ghosting, I guess. Okay, so that's it for part 1. There's a lot there to digest, I think, and then I'll have a couple of follow-up videos to finish up my summary of the book. So that's it for now. Thanks.